It's been 2 months since Kingsnake Canyon closed its doors. Due to the inability to secure the permits for Amur leopards and Nubian goat exhibition, the zoo was forced to shut down. And while the creator of Kingsnake Canyon moved on to other zoos and other projects, all the animals just lie dormant in Planet Zoo, out of the public eye. So much promised, so much creativity, but after 2 long months of having its doors closed, 2 months of not being on the channel, I may have realized that I could have had the mods in here the whole time. It's just they were outdated, so they wouldn't have performed as well. So, yeah, I was able to put the mods in there. Honestly, I thought that the game would crash instantly when I did this, but silly me. But I was able to put the mods back in, delete them from the zoo, so I could reopen Kingsnake Canyon. So we are back, and with the conservation pack or 1.10 out now, I am able to do some animals like the Amur leopard that I've been wanting to do for a while. So with that, here's Kingsnake Canyon episode 5. So in this video, we are revamping the old flamingo habitat. Due to the mods kind of being out of date for a bit, they are back like up to date now with the like 1.10. But after a lot of consideration as to what I wanted to do, I thought maybe an African place, but no, I'm making an African section. Maybe Australia, maybe a wetlands. But after a lot of thinking, I finally decided I wanted to do a North American wilderness, kind of showing some of the generic yet iconic animals of the North American continent. This, ironically, will include mods, which is ironic because it's what got me into this mess in the first place of not being able to show Kingsnake Canyon for a couple of months. But like I said, we're going to be doing it, and we are mixing it with the animals of like some of the North America pack animals, so more on that later. So as you saw, I put the little pond back at the bottom, added more grass because I want this to be a more like greener habitat compared to the deserts of Arizona. The animals that I'm going to be including in this are prairie dogs, moose, deer, turkeys, and sandhill cranes. Now for the sandhill cranes, I wanted to add a custom sifting pool right at the bottom or the edge of the pond or of the water feature. And also I wanted to add a waterfall to kind of add to that wild effect, kind of like those waterfalls you see in valleys in like movies and stuff. So I thought I'd add my own. I also went ahead and smoothed out the slope so that it's not as like rigid as it was with the flamingos. Added the grass and also all the stuff back up at the barn or the little canopy. Right here I'm just adding a roof so that the animals it looks like the water's coming from something else. And also kind of a little rock wall around the sifting pool so that, the waves aren't or the water isn't splashing into there. So, yeah, and I wanted to go with different colored rocks because that is kind of what I did with the quarry or the rock wall when this was the flamingo habitat. I may actually bring back flamingos later on, but again, lesson learned with the mods. Like, I didn't quite pay attention. I know I have to get them all out of my trade centers before the new update comes out. But with 1.10 out now, I think it may be a while. So, adding all the greenery you saw there. I'm adding a bunch of aquatic plants. Kind of putting them at one edge of the pool because, the waterfall would have kind of shifted a lot of the plants to the edge. Kind of like with moss. But in this case, I just want to add some lilies. Adding a lot of reeds and trees, bushes, and then also kind of lining the edge. So I think it looks pretty cool how it is. Adding a bunch of like underwater plants on one end And then, yeah, adding some bushes, kind of giving it that nice meadow feel. Meadow, yet foresty feel. Adding some moss-covered rocks with flowers. Kind of getting rid of some of the taller grass. And then what I'm doing is also adding a little a little path to the habitat. So it kind of looks like a little trail that you'd see in a forest. Supposedly, this is the trail that the animals would use to get to the bottom, get to the water part. So adding some cattails, adding some more trees, and some more bushes, kind of give it more of that covered feel. Adding a bunch of reeds to the fence of the wall, kind of covering up the fence so that it isn't seen. One thing I do like about the 1.10 with the plants is that in addition to the align to surface, there's an align to water feature now. So I think that makes it a lot more easier to add plants to the top of water. So, yeah. Adding more reeds to kind of cover up the wall. Doesn't cover up all the wall, but it still kind of gives it that more like disguised feel. You know what I mean? Adding some more rocks to the habitat, kind of as enrichment or obstacles. And the way I like this habitat, how it's set up, is that you can see like all the open part with the trees on the side. So it's kind of like a forest clearing. Adding all the enrichment for the different animals, because we are going to have a mix of birds and mammals in here. And I was lucky enough to get an albino buck for the white-tailed deer mod, and as you see right there, an albino turkey. So, kind of just adding some more stuff. I'm adding burrows for the prairie dogs, adding sprinklers on some areas as enrichment, logs. Trying not to make it more sloped, because I know with a lot of enrichment what it'll do is it'll flatten the terrain. So I'm trying not to make it that way. Making sure that there is enough food for all the animals, because we are going to have a lot. Kind of feels like one of those, like when I was looking at this, it kind of feels like one of those posters that you see where it shows all the animals in one biome kind of together. And it'll say like what each animal is. Like you'll see all the birds, or it'll be like animals of the river, animals of the Yellowstone, kind of something like that. So just adding some stuff for the birds, adding some more enrichment, and yeah, getting all the different mods, selecting everyone, and sending them into the zoo. I did consider adding the baby bison to this, but I decided against it. We're going to do something with them later. There are actually a lot of baby animals I need to do something with, so that'll be a later episode. But yeah, there's the white turkey. I think it looks pretty good, as well as the deer. And yeah, so all the animals are in. The guests are starting to look at them. I had just one female moose. There's the white deer. I think that it looks pretty cool. Just kind of checking up on all the different like needs for the animals. Some of the animals were overheated, so I had a cooler in the center of the habitat, keep it in the 50s for them. It actually makes me wonder what zoos in Arizona do to keep their animals like cooler. Do some research. And then I'm also adding some decor and signs. If you remember when I had the flamingos, they had their own like decor set up. So just adding like a little prairie dog sign, or prairie dog, not a sign, just a little decoration. Adding a nice little flag that shows North American wilderness, and then putting all of their info signs right up here. So just showing like what the different animals that are in the exhibit are. So you got all the cranes, the moose, the prairie dogs, you got the turkeys. The deer, for some reason, as you see there, it didn't show up, which I think is a glitch with some of the mods that they don't show up. Kind of fixing that little issue right there. And then I thought I'd add one more thing. It's a bit of an elevated walkway that gives you a bit of like a different perspective of the animals. Gives you just more of a higher view, and you're not in the crowds and stuff, because I know that is a bit of a narrow path. But with that, I think we're done here. I hope you enjoyed the return of Kingsnake Canyon. I do have at least one more habitat that I really want to build. You may have seen it in the background of this. It was based on one of the original habitats I wanted to do for the African section, so stay tuned for that video coming up soon. And if you enjoyed this video, consider liking, subscribing to the channel, and following us on all of our social media platforms. The link will be in the description below. And also, share this video out to anyone who loves speed builds, Planet Zoo, adding or trying mixing mods to the zoo, all that good stuff. I thank you all for watching, and remember, always be prepared, do good daily, and love nature. For your life is a canvas, and you have the brush. Auf Wiedersehen!